Do you have a preference in terms of like your brands? What?
So definitely, if it's tins, Carico for sure. I have 2 sets that I bring with me everywhere. I have the Japanese style.
We're gonna have to talk to Carico about getting us a sponsorship because
Yeah.
I myself really like Carico as well.
I love
and
Carico.
I just realized that as I started using different types of tins and whatnot brands, like I really like Barfly as well.
Barfly's good.
But the Cocktail Kingdom, it's okay, but Carico by far, of course.
Yeah.
We know this about the Japanese brands and Japanese in general, that the Japanese do not invent anything; they just perfect things. So, yeah, it's horrible to say, but it's true. So, as a bartender, and I hate to use the word professional bartender because as I get older now, like I've actually have more acceptance, if you will, because when I was a young bartender, I was such a pretentious little prick. You know, like
yeah, me too.
and like I would look at like Applebee's bartender because you're not really a bartender.
Yeah.
But now as I got older, I'm like I have an appreciation for anyone in the service industry that can put up with crap from, and we put up a lot of crap with some of the hardest judgmental guests possible. So more kudos to every single industry related professionals out there. So that's why I stopped using the word professional bartenders and I just say bartenders.
Yeah,
I just say servers.
professionals.
We're all, if you're getting paid for what you're doing, I don't care if you really don't know how to make a proper Long Island or if you use tequila, or if you don't use tequila, or if you know how to spin spoons to stir it to make a proper old fashioned. No such thing. Just at this point, if you get paid for what you do,
you do it good. Yeah, then just keep on keeping on, man.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite drink to make?
I like making old fashions. I really do. I don't know why. I love making.
So,
them.
what makes your old fashioned slightly different? I think from anyone else's.
So,
how do you make your old fashioned?
You have to ask.
So we're gonna put this on. I'm gonna put Marty's old fashioned. And we're gonna put this on the website so you can actually see how he does it.
Awesome.
His incrementations and maybe even tape it.
Yeah. So basically, you're gonna ask them if they want bourbon or rye because that's important. Do you want it sweet or do you want it a little peppery? But
when you say peppery, what do you add to
the
the
rye?
I get you. Okay.
Yeah, it's just
spicy note.
bad,
Okay.
Yeah, just a bad flavor. But usually I would use a bourbon. Preferably a local bourbon like Belmead. I like Belmead.
We're all about local.
Yes, vanilla, caramel notes. It's fantastic, not too expensive. And I would do 2 ounces of that, and I would do either a quarter to half an ounce of Demerara.
What is Demerara?
So Demerara is a sugar, and basically it's similar to like a brown sugar, mostly from the Demerara River, and it just makes it's a different aspect of sweet. So instead of just a normal simple syrup with white sugar, it's a different kind of flavor profile, and it takes the whole muddling fruit out of the whole equation.
Do you muddle fruit?
I do not. No.
Okay, I don't either. I used to when I first made an old fashioned.
Back in the day,
right? I used to muddle fruit, and I was told properly that from all the competitions I've gone to, like the mixologists will go, you don't really need to do that anymore. I still do that when I go to Wisconsin.
It's crazy.
Like that, right.
All over the country, people make it differently, and I get
and there's no right or wrong. It's just how you prefer it. That's very important to know.
Exactly.
Don't ever become pretentious.
Yeah,
like I used to be. Or this guy.
Both of us. Yeah.
Right.
But back in the day in Prohibition, they didn't have simple syrup or Demerara sugar. So they took the natural sugars out of the fruits, and that's what sweetened it up a little bit, and that's why they muddled it. You don't have to do that now these days. You can if you want to, but
the product quality's gotten so much better nowadays with the regulations, everything else. Totally get it.
Basically, I just do the 2 ounces, then the half ounce or a quarter of the Demerara, and 3 or 4 dashes of Anglo bitters. Good 10 to 13 spins, dilute it just a little bit. Then
what do you garnish it with?
Orange peel.
Orange peel.
And then just express the top of it, so you're getting the aromatics right before you take your sip.
Now, do you use a little Luxardo cherry or no?
So,
like I see
back to the traditionality.
Right, some people do it, some people don't.
That's so back to the traditionality. Like everyone's like, oh, I'm used to having muddled cherries, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take the whole steps out of there. I'll throw cherry right on top next to the orange peel.
Got it.
Boom, makes it easy. They don't want it, they don't have to have it, but at least you have the option.
And it's easier to add than just to take away.
Exactly.
Oh, I love that.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that I would say that would probably be my favorite drink to make.
Well, not to get too technical or too geeky, but on your Demerara syrup, do you use a 1-to-1 ratio or a 2-to-1?
Yeah,
1-to-1. I noticed that
as long as it's proper Demerara sugar.
Correct.
Yeah.
In case of raw sugar or brown sugar, I've noticed that a lot of the bars that I work at, if it's more of a what we call a speed or volume bar. They use the 1-to-1 because it pours easier. It's much easier to dilute.
2-to-1 tastes better, I think. In my
It's a
opinion.
mouthfeel. It's a creamier mouthfeel. It's harder to work with, definitely. But mixology bars tend to go 2-to-1. I know Death & Co does 2-to-1.
Yeah.
And we call it Baker's ratio for some reason. I guess Baker's use a 2-to-1 ratio as well for their products. Wasn't aware of that until recently. So, what is your favorite drink to
drink?
Ooh, cocktail to
this
drink.
Is good. I would say Negroni right now. Negronis, yeah. And for people who don't know Negronis, it's basically it's made like an old fashioned in a mixing glass, and it's gin, Campari, and sweet vermouth. Just those 3 ingredients with orange peel. Super good. Very bitter.
Do you have a preference in your sweet vermouth brand?
Preferably not the shitty type.
Not the shitty. I know Cookie's really popular, but you know,
Cookie Torino,
That's really cool. I've been using the Italian one that totally escapes my mind. It's got the beautiful I don't know what's
the
French.
label where it's like white and I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I like that one too.
But I used to use that because it's more expensive. So it's a French.
It's like a Rojo, a Rojo.
So then we use that one. But you obviously can use Rossi as well. Yeah. What's your favorite? What's your gin?
My favorite gin
for Negronis.
So I like Botanist. Botanist is really
nice.
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do prefer Botanist.
Yeah.
Botanist kind of reminds me of the Roku gin.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's an amazing gin.
I like Hendrix too, but for gin and tonics, not for Negronis.
So that's kind of wild that you said that. So like there is actually with the botanicals that they use for gins, and we'll get more in detail in a different episode. But gins have different botanicals and different, and some of them are better suited for like gin and tonics or gin on the rocks or gin martinis. And others are more suitable for cocktail mixing.
Yep, exactly.
Interesting. I never knew that. That's unbelievable.
It's crazy, yeah.
So Negronis, awesome.
Negronis.
And how would you garnish that? Would that be an orange
just
peel?
Orange peel, just a simple
Any bitters at all,
peel.
or just keep it simple?
No bitters, just keep it simple.
Same 1-to-1 ratio?
Well, I like to drink, so I would do, at home I'll do 1.5 of gin instead of 1, and then 1 for the other.
Oh, so 1.5, 1.
Yeah.
I call that the bartender special or the alcoholic special because gin's got way more proofage.
Yes. I love it.
Okay, so let's say, where can we find you actually? So if people visiting Nash right now, you want to come visit Marty, go, hey, I see you on the podcast, and I want to come say hi. Where can they find you at?
Yeah, so right now I'm at Moxie, Nashville downtown. I'm working the lobby bar there. Been there for 7 months. It's a great place. And I just started at Acme Feed and Seed.
Acme's on our top 5 list, so that place
Gotta go.
actually on for a restaurant that's on or it's an establishment, because it's not just a restaurant. They have a live stage and a rooftop bar. But for someone that's on Broadway, it's right on the cusp or the corner of the Broadway. That's one of the very few places locals, meaning that anyone that lives in Nashville will actually go, because we're notoriously speaking, we don't go to Broadway whatsoever. But when we do, Acme is one of the places you want to go to. The Gulch area and Printers Alley, those are the places to go.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you're gonna start at the Acme.
Yeah, I actually start there next week. Have a few friends who work there. Great rooftop bar, sushi on the 2nd floor. Went and ate the sushi the other day, and it was amazing. And for me,
sorry, does he look like Aquaman? We always tease about the fact that he looks like Aquaman.
Can't tell. My hair is in a bun, but yes.
Yes. He gets that a lot.
The sushi there is good though, man.
Actually, the sushi, I've had sushi there several times. The sushi is actually top rated. They told me a story behind it. There was a famous guy here, Japanese guy, that had a sushi shop, got bought out, and they actually asked him to do it there.
To do it there, and he actually had a shop, and the first floor where Noel is actually the Hotel Noel, and it was in Printers Alley. So it was this little shop in Printers Alley, and this dude was just cranking out, sushi and all by himself. And then they asked him to go to Acme, and basically his whole program's there. So
that's awesome. The sushi program is actually quite wonderful there.
It's really good.
I have a great time there. That's awesome. Any funny stories to tell us, to guests? Like work related. It's gotta be work related. I know you got a lot.
There's too many. There's just too many. And not off the top of my head it pops out right away. But yeah, I mean, there are more swingers out there than you know. Everyone does drugs at the bar. I mean, all the guests.
This is not all true, okay?
It's just what happens, and everyone's a stripper.
Oh my gosh. You're gonna scare a lot of people.
There's a lot of cool stuff,
What would you say crazy. What would you say? Nashville is crazy.
It's crazy.
Like, let's say I'm an aspiring bartender that what do you okay? Let's take a step back. if I came to you for advice and I said I want to become a bartender,
Yeah.
like would you recommend me going to a bartending school, or what would your advice be
So
to
I'm
me?
partial on the school thing. So for me, I feel like you can go to school as much as you want, read books all day, but you're gonna get the most out of hands-on experience. You know,
Yeah.
like being in the moment and getting flustered and getting in the weeds. Like that's where you actually learn. That's where you're really learning.
Okay.
So I don't necessarily think that the schooling is bad. I think it is a waste of money. I feel like.
Okay.
The knowledge is great, but you can find
That's
all that.
Marty's opinion, of
You
course.
know, yeah, it's my personal thing. You can find tons of knowledge like on podcasts just like this.
Sure.
You know? But you know, I don't think it hurts you unless it's financially.
Yeah,
But,
sure. But here's my, if I can just piggyback off of that, if you are going to do the hands-on training, my suggestion is going to a smaller, quieter, like a dive bar or neighborhood bar,
Yes.
so that if when you do mess up, and you will mess up, you're not going to get fired necessarily. But if you
Yeah.
go to a prime spot like Marty works now, and you start screwing up, you will get fired on the spot.
Just make it look good when you mess up. Like make it like you did it on purpose, and no one will notice because we mess up all the time. I mean, you know.
So they always say that bartending is almost like being a rock star. It is a glamorous position.
I mean, you're on stage. You're there. You know, people are there to drink their worries away and to have fun. It's the two biggest things. And if you're not bringing the fun and taking their worries away, then what are you doing besides making drinks? You know, it's a whole experience. You're on stage. You're there for people. They're the ones who are paying you. They're paying your bills. You know, so. Work it as best as you can, because that's what it's all about, man.
Any favorite restaurants in town that you recommend a guest to go? Like if I came in, I'm here for one night in Nashville, and I'm like, hey, listen, Marty, you're a great bartender, and I trust your opinions. I really don't care what kind of cuisine they have. But that one spot that you think I should go while I'm here in
So
Nashville.
I love to eat, and this is a hard question for me because I love all kinds of food. But if you ask me that like right off the bat, initially what I would think of first would be the prime rib at Skull's Rainbow Room. It is so good. The environment.
Skull's Rainbow Room on our list.
It's in Printers Alley. It's super cool. It's got this great historical background there as being the first speakeasy in Nashville. So the whole vibe is awesome. And the food is just top notch. The cocktails are great. And that prime rib is just...
I never had the prime rib
juicy,
there,
man.
but
It's so
the
good.
escargot there is fabulous
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Now, and also Skull's Rainbow Room is notorious, and they're famous for their
burlesque.
burlesque show.
Yeah, they have some cool
Not
burlesque
cheesy,
shows.
real
Real
classily
old school
done. Love
prohibition
it.
style burlesque.
Even the piano didn't play. It had that real
My buddy
off-tune-
Jamie, he plays there.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The whole decor, the music scene,
It's
everything.
awesome.
It's almost
It's
like
really
watching
cool.
Moulin Rouge live, really.
Yeah, it definitely brings you back into the olden days, you know, where things were a lot more difficult, but basic and simple as far as food and drinks go, you know, and fun and just letting your worries go away, and that's a really cool place. I really enjoy going there. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we really enjoy having you here today. Thank you very much for being here.
Absolutely.
So you can always check out Marty. Please, any comments or whatnot, just send us to us, emails and whatnot. If there's any other bartenders, anyone related in this industry that you want us to feature, let us know about that as well. But Marty, thank you very much for being here.
Yeah,
Always a pleasure.
anytime.
And remember, see him at Acme. It's a fun place to go. And anywhere in, I'm sure you go to any of the hip places, you'll find him. Everyone knows who Marty is. So definitely buy him a drink. Please, when you see him, say, hey.
Negroni.
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 Absolutely.
Love
All
it.
right, peace out, guys. Thank you very much
Bye.
for joining us.